Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So it has literally been years since I did a remote year. I did a remote year from 2018 to 2019, October to September. I made, of course, a series of videos where I interviewed some of the other women of color who are on my program because the program is amazing. Full stop. If you're thinking about doing it, do it. I've got a referral code. It's linked below, all that good stuff. And I never actually talked about my experience just specifically with the program. It was always about how these other folks were enjoying it. But I've had people reach out to me ever since I put out those videos and they're like, Chimdi, what did you think about it? Tell me the honest truth. We get into it for sure. But I realized it would probably be helpful if they had something to reference, if they wanted to just kind of hear what I had to say without necessarily hopping on a call with me. But if you are thinking about doing a remote year and you just want to be like, hey girl, can I talk to you? I'm available. I love talking about the experience because it truly changed my life. I say a lot of things changed my life, I realize, because a lot of things do be changing my life. But the impact remote year has had, the way it's brought just amazing relationships into my life, the way it expanded my perspective, the way it just allowed me to understand myself deeper. It really was a game changer of an experience. And so if you're thinking about doing it, if your spirit is calling you, go ahead and do it. In this video, I'm going to just kind of dig into it a little bit more from my perspective, and I'm going to share 10 of the things that the experience taught me. I'm going to actually feel free to relax into this video just because I know I was reading everything, looking at everything before I made that final decision. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to see more, and of course, subscribe to my Patreon. Yes, I've got a Patreon now. It is very fun over there. I'm very excited. Let's get this video started. The first thing I learned is that traveling in community is more fun. If you look at remote year, if you look at the pricing, you know that you can do the trip. You can spend a month in each place, do your own activities, get your own workspace. You can, for the most part, do that cheaper than what they are advertising for. What you're getting with remote year is that community piece. So you are having the gift, truly, of joining a community of people. For me, our group was around 34, 35 people who you are going to travel with for the month, 4 months, or a year like I did it. That gift, it can't actually be compared because I've done some solo traveling before and after remote year, and it's dope. You know, there's a real freedom in terms of solo travel where you really can do whatever you want to do, go wherever you want to go on your own schedule. Because you are alone, you can meet more of the locals and explore places that maybe other folks might not want to go to. But very fundamentally, you are there alone, right? And so the only community you have is the community that you create, the community that you attract. So to be able to start a program that is so radical, especially if you're doing the year version, and automatically have a group of 20 to 30 people who are on the same page as you generally about adventure and about exploring and about trying new things and about growth, that is such a gift. Two of my closest friends I met on remote year. I wouldn't have been able to know them because they're from such different walks of life. Neither lives in Maryland. How would I have been able to meet them, if it hadn't been for that program? And so many of the other dope people I've met have also been a part of that program. So it truly has really, really blessed me. What's nice is that normally when you go to a new place, you want to explore that place, right? Otherwise, why would you go? So some people love to go on a trip and just chill at the resort, chill on the beach, do you, honestly. But if you're the kind of person who likes to learn and grow and explore on your trips, it's really important to be able to go out into the city or into the country that you are in. You just feel way more confident when you have a couple of other people there. It makes it so much more fun to do things like try restaurants, even things like having girls' nights and spa days and things like that. It just becomes just way more fun. Doing side trips, all of it becomes just way more fun because you have companionship. And you also have someone that you're processing the experience with. It's very unique, And it's actually quite wild because when you're on the experience, you kind of forget that it is not normal because you're doing it with 30 other people and you're in a community that is then thousands of people strong because it's all the alum, the folks who did the program in the years past and in the years to come, right? My friends know what it means to travel to 12, 14 countries in a year. When I think about the wider community, the remote year citizen community, so everyone's ever done it. When I decided to move to LA after, the spot that I rented, I did a sublease for 1 month from someone who did remote year. And then I did a 6-month sublease from a friend of someone who did remote year. So the way being in the program has continued to help me long past has been amazing. And I keep meeting a bunch of awesome women, normally Black women because of the videos that I've made, and y'all are my favorite. But I'm meeting so many dope women as a result of that program because they see that I've done it and they reach out. That community piece really is what you're paying for when you do remote year because you really can do the trip by yourself. To already have people who have gone through the experience and like give you all the shortcuts is so helpful. Hey, this is a great credit card to get in terms of miles and points, and like this is a good debit card to get in terms of like no ATM fees. If you want to get this camera, if you want to get this drone, all this random stuff, there have been thousands of people who have already done the program, and so whatever question you have, they can answer for you has been amazing. So if it's on your spirit to just go out and travel, go out and travel. There's nothing, well, there are arguably some things stopping you in this very moment. For the most part, right? Like you have the freedom to do what you want. And I think if you know in your spirit that you're called to be a part of a community as you explore, as you grow, as you experience all these new things, then I think remote year, that is like the #1 reason to be remote year. The second thing that I learned as a result of remote year is that you can drop me anywhere in the world, and if I have my phone, credit card, and some Wi-Fi, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna figure it out. I remember I traveled back to America from Thailand. I think I left from Vietnam and I traveled to Thailand. I do not speak Thai and I do not speak Vietnamese, but I was perfectly able to navigate that experience of traveling from one Asian country to another without a problem. That kind of confidence that comes with having so many travel experiences is amazing because it makes you just feel very secure and safe in your own ability. That's how it is with everything, right? If you just do anything enough times, you're gonna be like, I've done this before, I get it. And it's just wild that it's for traveling to foreign destinations. When I decided to do like a solo trip to Costa Rica, there was no part of me that was like, well, what are we gonna do about this or that? I was like, no, I'll figure it out. Like, it's gonna be fine. I'll download some Google Maps, I'll go online and research some things. It's gonna be fine. Whenever I think about traveling anywhere, I don't imagine the obstacles because I know that those obstacles can be overcome because I have done it literally many times before. And that kind of feeling of like the world truly is mine to explore. I'm not a visitor on this world. I am from this world. This world birthed me and I can explore it and have adventures wherever I want and be okay. That is amazing. The next thing I learned is that you can do anything for 30 days. What was really interesting about remote year is we went from having like very like luxurious accommodations. When we were in Malaysia, we were like literally on like a 35th floor of like a penthouse to staying in Kyoto, Japan, where, you know, the walls were literally made of paper and I could have a full conversation with my roommate through the wall because it was paper. So just like those differences in experiences, having different roommates, having different living situations, having different working situations, to understand how much I can just kind of handle and deal with. I think of myself as a resilient person anyway. It really affirmed for me that any situation I'm in, whether it's, you know, in Peru, we were there during like the gray season, so just clouds every single day. We didn't see a bit of sun the entire 30 days. I survived. We survived. It was fine. Everything in life truly is temporal. If we're in time, it's gonna pass. It's these passing states. Experiencing so many different ways of living and having it pass and still being here just really gave me the chance to understand that pretty much I can just kind of handle anything. And that's not a challenge, you know? I'm not saying throw some shit at me, God. What I'm saying is that I understand that if it's happening in our experience, it's temporary, it's passing through, and it's gonna be okay. The next thing I learned from remote year is that you should take advantage of being close to places because you're not going back to those places. The thing with remote year is that you're in places that you otherwise truly would not be in, right? So when are you gonna be in Thailand? When are you gonna be in Vietnam? When are you gonna be in Cuba? Like all these other places, right? Because for a year, that seems like a long time, but a month in each place, the weekend you come in, that's travel. The weekend you leave, that's travel. When I did the program, you had like basically like one full day activity on like one of the weekends. So that's one whole weekend kind of gone. So in reality, it actually isn't that much time in each place because there is so much that you can do there. And then if you add on doing side trips, that takes out another weekend or another like 3 to 4 days because you want to go explore that new place. And so what we would say to each other, if we could go somewhere, I'm in Asia, when am I going to be so close to Australia again? Now is the time to take that trip. Or if you were like, you know, you can't actually make it work, you say, well, those countries aren't going anywhere. I'll be able to go back to them later. You're not going back. Maybe you're gonna go back, but you're not going back. I'm not going back to them places, y'all. My favorite country, people ask me, my favorite country, it was Vietnam. I think it was a function of the expectations I had for it. If you've seen that photo of Train Street, I thought every street was gonna be Train Street. It's just like super hectic, super busy. And I went and I absolutely loved it. I don't think I'm gonna go back though. I may, but I think that was it. I think that's all I needed, really. And so all the other countries that are close by, I'll have to intentionally go to those places. They're not actually that accessible to me. And so this is for folks who are committed to traveling already with remote year. If you really know you wanna go somewhere and you're close, just go while you're there because it is such a unique experience. And to have that kind of freedom, and it really creates this like safe space, this container for your travel. And so it's really nice to like leave that container, go explore somewhere and then come back to it. It's very different when you are traveling by yourself when you're traveling before or after that program. Next thing I learned, the people you meet in month 1 of the program are not the same people you meet in month 6. I did the year-long program, so that's the context I have. If you're doing the 4-month program, I think it's very different. You can be a fake person for 4 months. Like I think you can have your guard up for 4 months. I think you can judge people for 4 months. You know, like I think you can meet someone, wrap them up in a bow, and keep them in the place that you put them for 4 months and never be pulled to explore that relationship again. It's different when it's a year. And I think it's because you, of course, are going to change over that year too, right? Especially back then, I was very judgmental when it came to meeting people. Like I would kind of meet them within a conversation or two, be like, I know who this person is. I know their whole story. I know who they are. I know what they're about. And I either rock with them or I didn't. And that was that. And what that experience, I'm so grateful, is that it taught me that not only, of course, am I growing and changing every moment, but so are the people that I'm talking to. And so I can't actually assume that I know anyone. Like it's a wild thing that I thought that I knew anyone. To think that I also knew them after traveling with them for even a month. Like most people we meet in our life as adults, if you do not want to spend time with them, you do not have to. Unless it's like a work situation, maybe family situation. If there's someone in your life who you don't really rock with, you just can just not talk to them. But if you are traveling with them for a year, you're gonna keep seeing them around. And so it's not that you're gonna become best friends with every single person, but I think for me, the experience allowed me to give people more grace, have more genuine curiosity for them, and really allow myself to like disentangle and break down some of the ideas that I had about people and allow me to see them in a much deeper way, which, you know, whenever we do something for someone else, we're really doing it for ourselves. That gave me the chance to then look at myself and give myself more room and more grace to grow and change and explore and transform, because that is what that much travel will do to you on some level, is transform you. To what extent it does is up to you. I'm really grateful that I had the chance to meet people and get to know them much deeper than I thought it would. And when I think about my 2 friends that I'm closest to from the program, we were friends on the actual trip, but the relationship has gotten even deeper following the program. The program was an amazing like foundational space. It is because of that deeper journey that allows for that intimacy and that allows for that closeness. And I'm really grateful that I had so much time with these people who truly I would have never met otherwise, because they had such different life experiences and life contexts and were coming from different places and all that stuff, had different jobs. How would I have met them in my regular everyday life, right? It's a gift to yourself to get to know someone in a real way. And I wouldn't have given myself that gift in my regular everyday life. So very grateful to Remote Year for that. The next thing I learned from Remote Year is that I really enjoy having someone else handle logistics. I planned my Costa Rica trip after doing Remote Year, and to be clear, it wasn't that I was like worried about it or concerned or nervous or anxious about anything. I just don't like doing the logistics. I'm like, wait, I gotta book my own travel, and then I gotta figure out where I'm gonna stay, and then how am I gonna get from the airport to the location, and then oh, you gotta get health insurance, and then you gotta get the test. Like there's all this stuff that you have to do. And what I love about Remote Year, literally you just give them your money and you're just like, y'all handle that. And if you want to do side trips and things, that's on you. But to, oh my gosh, you literally land in a country, they hand you the key to your apartment, they hand you the like card to get into the workspace, they've got your roommates picked out if you have roommates that month. There are things that you're doing on your own, of course. You're getting your groceries, you know, you're exploring, you know, all this other stuff. But just to have the flight and where you're gonna stay and where you're gonna work sorted, you know, and to have to do it all yourself. Oh, me and my friends over the summer, we were planning this trip to Europe. It was such a harsh wake-up call to remember how much planning goes into, especially when you're talking about multiple people. It's one thing if you're traveling by yourself. To travel with multiple people, I actually chatted to a Remote Year friend and she was telling me the story. She did like an 7 or 8 person birthday trip. And I was like, ooh, like just those words in that order, I was like, no, that is way too many people to then be gathering together on one location in a foreign country. No, just the logistics of that. It's not for me. And so when I think about why I paid Remote Year, the community, number 1, but number 2 is definitely, I am not trying to be up here Googling flights, trying to create my own connections, looking at the different, you know, how much does this my bag weigh? No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested, all right? So if you are someone who knows that you don't want to deal with all that, Remote Year is truly a great option for you. Next thing I learned is, of course, traveling with people who look like you, wonderful. I recently was looking at the comment section for the videos that I made around being a person of color, being a woman of of color traveling with remote year, conversations have kept going past what I understood. Because I don't get the notifications. If someone's not responding to me, I don't get the notifications. And so I was seeing that there was like this ongoing thread around one of the videos that I made where this person was essentially saying, why are you even having this conversation about what it's like to be a Black woman traveling the world? I mean, if you know the argument, you know the argument, right? Of like, it doesn't matter, just be you. I don't quite know the argument, but I know when I was looking at the program, the first thing I was looking for was like, do Black people travel? Will I be the one Black person in a group of like 50 white people? Which sounds horrifying. I love my white brothers and sisters, but I will truly never travel with 50 white people, and it's just me. So I really need to see like, what are the options here? And I did, you know, read from a few different people who are Black people, and I was like, okay, I get enough that I feel good about this. And I knew that because the experience was so amazing, and I was so blessed not only have a Black man be our program leader, but then have 2 other Black women, and then multiple other women of color. It was so great, and those were the people that I was closest to over the course of the program. I knew that I wanted to tell that story and like show people that folks of color do the program, and it is great and it is better. And I knew that by making the videos, more people of color would then sign up for it, which would then make it better for everyone. Because I think what makes the program so great is the diversity of the types of people that you are spending time with, and then of course the diversity of the countries that you are going to. So just like on every level, you are having the opportunity to have your mind expanded, your perspective expanded. In those videos, we talk about specific things like having someone who like uses castor oil. So you've already got someone like that, and like being able to share tips on like where to get your hair done, and just even things like just processing different experiences that are happening that are unique to like the Black experience, or just, you know, not looking like a white person when you're traveling, that I think is just so incredibly helpful. I just really hope that more people of color, I mean, I've heard some stats recently from the remote year team that diversity has gone like way up in the years since. So I'm really happy, and I feel like I have played a role in that, so y'all are welcome. Now this I already knew, but it was affirmed again with remote year, which is that one choice can change your life. The decision to travel with remote year, and that's how it is with every decision, right? Like you think you're just looking at this one specific decision in isolation in a vacuum, but actually, of course, this one decision is going to ripple out and change every single thing else. When I think about where I am spiritually, for instance, I know that traveling on that program, that was actually when I got more intentional about my spiritual journey, was when I was on remote year. I distinctly remember because we were in Santiago, Chile, and that was when I started to start doing a daily practice of reading the Bible. Just like the Bible, like the Verse a Day Bible app, that was when I started again. Since leaving the program, when I started doing more healing and addressing more trauma, that came from my dear friend Carla, and she actually sent me one of Thomas Hubel's videos. So that really kind of jump-started like my healing journey, which has been tremendous in terms of my like emotional and spiritual growth. I know that the things that are supposed to happen in your life are going to happen regardless. I am so grateful that that experience, that program, really set me up to do a bunch of things. When I think about living in LA, I'd always wanted to live in LA, and I knew I could, but it feels very scary because I'd only ever lived in Maryland my entire life. So to get up and go from one place to the next, it didn't feel insurmountable, but it felt pretty significant. So to go from living in just one state to living in 12 different countries, I felt so confident and comfortable moving to LA after. I think it wasn't until like a year of living in LA when I was like walking the streets of Koreatown, and I was thinking to myself, oh, you really did just get up and move to a new state where you had no family. You just like got up and went, and here you are doing fine. And I know it's because the experience is traveling so much and being able to land in a new city where I already had friends, like multiple people who did remote year within my group lived in California. So it was this like really easy transition for me. Literally, I think I remember someone commenting on my Instagram, wait, are you still doing remote year? When I was in LA, because like some of the people who were like in my normal photos were there with me too. The overarching feeling is one of gratitude. That experience set me up for so many things. And I think also that experience in terms of doing things that are scary, doing things that, you know, bring up a little bit of fear and excitement, and you're like, am I really gonna do this? That in itself is a skill and is a practice to do that again and again. To sign on the dotted line in the first place, you're like, whoa, I'm really about to do this thing. And then every month you are recommitting to challenging yourself and growing in that way. And not everybody made it to the end on our program, but we had, I think, one of the lowest turnovers. So we had 2 people in like the middle of the program decide to not go, but everyone else pretty much was like, yep, they recommitted month after month. That is what's allowed me to live a life that outside looking in, and I think inside looking out too, there's a lot of courage in it. And it's because of experiences like this where I signed up to do something I hadn't done before, to put myself in situations I'd never seen and go to places I'd never been. There were some challenging things that happened as well, and I made a video, for instance, about like being attacked when I was like walking down the street or whatever. But like, but even the fact that I can say that, like, or whatever, like that was such a blip in what was overarchingly such a powerful, amazing experience. And I see the way that that experience has allowed me to go in so many different directions in so many different areas and grow in ways that I really couldn't have imagined when I agreed to do it. So truly, one choice, one decision, you know, one commitment can truly change the entire trajectory of your life. The second to last thing I learned, just sell all that stuff. Just sell all of it, all right? If you're doing the year-long program, I think it's different if you're doing 4 months, but if you're doing the year-long program, you might be thinking, oh, should I put my stuff in storage? Should I sublease or, you know, rent out my apartment? Sell all that stuff. Get rid of it. Because once you are free, once you are free of the shackles of your old life, you are able to go and do anything and be anywhere, and you aren't limited by, what am I gonna do about that storage unit? What am I gonna do about that apartment? You've got this psychological weight on you when you still have this stuff that you own. That's why I'm a big proponent of like Marie Kondo, and like honestly just like every couple of years just look at everything you own and see what stuff you should get rid of. It's not just the physical weight of that stuff, it's a psychological weight to know that you've got that stuff that you have to deal with. Just sell all of it. And I think it's important to do it because it helps you understand how much you actually need, which is very little. Like I truly traveled my entire year with a suitcase, like a normal size suitcase, not like a super suitcase, normal suitcase, and my book bag. That is what I traveled with for all 12 months. When I went to Costa Rica for 2 weeks, for 1 week, I literally just packed my book bag. To be able to understand that you truly are good, like you are fine, you don't need anywhere near as much stuff as you think you do, is so freeing. And as you think about your next step following the 12 months, you have that freedom of like, oh, I can just kind of go and do whatever I want and wherever I want. I don't have to go back to the country that I came from because there's nothing like holding me there in terms of rent or a storage unit or anything like that. So if you're thinking like, oh, what should I do with this stuff? Sell it. When I got rid of my stuff, I moved into my apartment about 2 years ago, and I truly thought I was gonna be there for like 10 years. So I fully furnished that apartment like I was not going anywhere. And so it hurt, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt to see people walking out of there with my sofa and my paintings and I was like, it felt incorrect, to be clear. But I'm so glad, because we know attachment. I say we know like we all know, but there's a school of thought that a lot of our suffering comes from attachment, whether it's attachment to things, to people, to identities, to roles, whatever it is, thinking, oh, I am this chair, I am this job, I am whatever else, and realizing, of course, because that's not who you are and you're so much bigger and more beautiful than any kind of small label, you know, that causes a lot of suffering, especially because these things are temporal and they are going to change. And so I think the process of just selling all your stuff allows you to just fully commit to the truth of who you are, which is not the stuff. Like, you are beyond that. You are life itself. You are love itself. I'm just now getting to the point, it's been 3-4 years, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm starting to like acquire more things. And for the most part, that's just like mostly just more wardrobe because you get down to like 10 outfits basically that are really just like 3 tank tops and 2 pairs of jeans. And you just like keep, you know, recombining them. Now I'm like starting to like acquire more things, but it's nice because I hold them differently when I bring them into my life, and I'm more intentional about which things I bring in, because for so long I had that mindset of, if it's not gonna fit in my suitcase when I travel next, why am I buying it? And I think that's a very good mindset to have, because it really helps you think about what is essential, what do I actually need? And like I said, it tends to be far, far less than you think. And then the final thing that I learned from remote year, the adventures are just beginning. I talk about this in the interview that I did with the lovely Unique for her podcast, Journeying Free. When I looked at remote year and I looked at those 12 countries that I was going to be going to over the course of the year, it was shocking. It was stunning to think, as someone who had never left the country, to think about Croatia and Portugal and Prague and Peru and Colombia and Malaysia, and you know, like it's just like, huh? Vietnam? Thailand? Like, huh? It was so mind-blowing. And it's a year, so that's a long time that we know how time flies. And so I remember thinking even then, like, I'm gonna be on the other side of this program. Right now, I'm in the before stage where I haven't even left, I haven't even started packing yet. There will be a point, here we are, where I am looking back and being like, wow, I did that. And when I think about my life since, I've had a lot of adventures since, you know, quitting a job for the first time and stepping out on faith, that has continued to be a whole new adventure. Being a full-time creative, getting to work with dope brands and getting to travel and like explore my creativity, that has been its own adventure. When I think about like doing my own solo travels and going to places that I went to Cape Town, South Africa. Like a solo trip to Costa Rica. Like, these are things that were not within my realm of possibility before. And of course they are possible. Anyone can do these things, right? It's different when it's like, I am doing these things, me. It's very different, and it's amazing, and it's so cool. And so to think about the fact that remote year was just the beginning, and like I said, it's allowed me to meet so many people. It's given me this courage and the strength to try new things and put myself in new places, which only magnifies and brings the adventures. I absolutely love travel, but you know, I haven't traveled anywhere internationally since Costa Rica in the summer. The appeal of it has changed a little bit because the biggest adventure, which has been my spiritual journey, has become truly paramount, and it's now the #1 most important thing, and it is truly the most fun adventure of all. And I just feel so I just feel grateful and just blessed, like very, 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 very blessed. I just know it's not a thing that a lot of people get the chance to do, and I'm just so honored and grateful that God gave me that chance. And I know that there are people who think that it's not for them, but actually it is. And the people who are on the fence, who know that if they did it, they would have an amazing time. And so I feel like I'm really just here to be that voice of encouragement that's like, if you know this is for you, do it. If you're like, it's fine. You don't do anything that you're not feeling called to do, like deeply within your spirit. But you know, if you're watching this, especially if you made it this far, you know whether or not this is something that's on your spirit. And you have to like honor yourself and do it, because there's a reason it's on your spirit. It's on your spirit because it's going to be amazing. It's going to change your life, and you want to do it, and you deserve to do it. And like, it's such a blessing. Like, it's so cool. And I want to clarify, I did the year-long program. Other people have done the 4-month program. I think it is a different experience doing the 4-month program, just because of like that shortness of time. You only go to 4 places instead of 12, etc., etc. So I think there are some differences. And I also try to say, you know who you are. This program is going to grow you and expand you, but you kind of know fundamentally your disposition, right? Like, are you somebody who goes with the flow, or do you need to have every single thing planned out and certain? Are you someone who, like, when things unexpected happen, can like see the love and the joy and like the beauty in it? Or are you like, this wasn't how I was supposed to go? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know your constitution. You know if you're someone who, when you meet someone new, you can give them a chance and get to know them and give them the grace to be like, oh, this person has a different perspective because of how they were raised. Let me kind of have some humility to understand where they're coming from. Or if you're like, no, this way is the right way to do it. This country is doing it wrong. I don't like that. You know if this is the kind of program that's gonna work with who you are. Don't set yourself up to have a bad time if you know this isn't actually the kind of thing that suits you. But if you already know that it is, you're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited for you. And if you do end up going, use my referral code. Let me get that money. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you have ever done a travel program like this, why you are attracted to remote year, if you've already signed up, what are some of the countries that you're gonna go to. I'm so freaking excited for you. Let me know, like I said, if you wanna just like hop on a video call, we can chat about it more, because truly I am a proponent. Yeah, overall, 2 thumbs up, y'all. I loved it. Thanks for watching, y'all. I really appreciate you. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more. Catch me on Patreon. Thank you all for all of your support over there. I love you, boys.